Good evening, Magnetic Mind people. So good to be here. Tonight, we have started a new quarter. We're a little bit running a little bit late with it. We had a few delays and a few issues with the internet because of the recent flooding up here in the Northern Rivers where I'm living in beautiful Australia. And so we're about a week behind, but that's okay. We can easily catch that up. So if you're new to Magnetic Mind and the Magnetic Mind Masterclass, welcome. Welcome. I'm so glad that you're here and ready to get started. Just as a reminder for everyone, and particularly if you're new here, to log into your university and go into the introduction and have a look at that. Have a look at the recordings by Chris Duncan, and please, I cannot stress enough, get in there and get into the lenses and start doing the lenses. What I'm going to do, I'll send out another group email to everyone that has the link and the times for all the other masterclass coaches, which is just phenomenal that we get access to that. It's priceless, actually. If you put a value on it, it's tens of thousands of dollars if you wanted to access those. Now, we don't get the recordings from them, but that doesn't matter. We get enough recordings from me. 2 a week is plenty. 1 recode a week is plenty, but please go in, start getting familiar with the university and start getting familiar and start using the lenses. The lenses, as it suggests, is for focus. You know, what we focus on creates our reality. And it really, really does. If you're not focusing on your end results or your true choices or the 4 core choices, then you're focusing on other things. And those other things, you know, will get in the way of what you're actually really, really wanting to create. And remember, this work is all about keeping you in a creative orientation. So you learn to be the powerful creator of your own life and everything that's in it. And you're not just sitting there problem solving. And so what I'm leading into is we're going to go through, we're going to do a revision. We're going to go through, and for those of you who are here, this won't be revision. We're going to go through the problem-solving structure, and we're going to go through the sabotaging identities. There's 6 of them that get in the way of us creating what we want. So let's get started. And I'm going to use the whiteboard, and if you can see that, it looks like it's coming up nicely. Success is not personal. It isn't personal. It is structural. And if you can remember, you know, for those of you who have only just joined us, if you remember not that long ago, and for those of you who've been with us for a bit of time now, success isn't personal, it's structural. And the reason that it's not personal is because there actually is a structure to creating. Now, I'll demonstrate on the board for you. So here we are in a current reality, right? We're in a current reality, CR. And we want to go across to our desired reality, DR, or our future reality. Right, so these are our 2 points of creation, where we want to go and where we are right now. Now, if you remember that, you know, in our current reality, if you're like me, you might be working class. And so you want to be, you know, wealthy. Who would like that? Anyone like that? Just type a yes in the chat box. I love that. You know, I'm reasonably wealthy these days, but I'd love to create more wealth. That's always a good thing. So, or you might be, remember the future, you know, we all subscribe to it. The future is better. It's going to be better. So currently it's worse. In the future, there will be abundance. Currently, there's scarcity. Scarcity. Well, currently there might be, you know, you might be single and no love. And out here, you've got love, you're in relationship. Or right here, you might be unhealthy in some degree. And out here, you have health. Or over here, you might have a fear. You might have a fear of success. And out here, you don't have that fear. You have success. Now, whatever it is, once we start trying to move from the current reality to our desired reality, we start getting pulled back. And what we start getting pulled back by is our identity. Right? We have an identity in this current reality. We'll put it there, ID. And we have this identity over here in the future. And so we start moving across, and about here in the middle, we start getting pulled back. And we start getting pulled back by this resistance. And we call it resistance, and it's psychological resistance. It is psychological resistance. When we go to create something, and I didn't put it in, up here, we have creative tension that pulls us toward our goal or our desire. Yeah. So we have creative tension that's pulling us toward our desired result. Very normal, and it's awesome. You know, it's very, very awesome. And back in this direction, we have resistance. You know, that's psychological resistance. And if this resistance is greater than this creative tension, or our desire and what we want to create, then we'll get pulled back here every time. This identity, whether it's working class or it's worse, or you know, it's scarcity, or you know, you're not good, you don't feel like you're good enough. This identity you get pulled back into, and you go, oh, okay, this feels normal, this feels great. And you come back to here again. And then at some point you get motivated again, and you start going out for what you want again. And then the same thing happens, although maybe this time you actually get your desired result. And then, you know, you get the job you want, and then you make a bad decision, or you sabotage and you come back. Or you get all the money that you want, or the wealth that you want, and you can't hold on to that. And the reason this happens is because this identity in your current reality does not equal the identity in the future. And this is the structure. This is the setup. And what this ends up doing is you just hear like a pendulum within this structure, just going back and forth. And you never, ever get out of this problem-solving structure. Now, at some point, if you remember, at some point we make this personal. You know, we make our success or our lack of success personal. And in doing this, we go, right, yeah, well, I'm the common denominator in everything, in all my failures, all my successes. If I fix me, I can just fix me, then I'll be able to have everything that I want. So you come back down here and you start trying to fix these things about you. You start trying to fix all the ways that you feel incomplete. And we're told this. Society tells us this. Maybe your friends or some family tell you this. You got to go fix that. You got to be a certain way. You got to feel abundant in order to have wealth. You know, you've got to feel a certain way. You got to be a certain way before you can have it all. And it couldn't be further from the truth. Anyway, so you start trying to fix these things. And when you start trying to fix those things, what this does, it creates an identity of needing to be fixed, right? So over here, you'll be fixed. Now, just for a minute, if something's broken, just riddle me this. I've ruined it. Like, just riddle me this. Play with me. If something needs fixing, what's wrong with it? It's broken, right? So the more that you try, can't spell broken. So the more that you come over and keep trying to fix yourself, the more that you are reinforcing an identity of needing to be fixed and that you're broken, that you're not good enough, that you're not it. Yet what we are told and what is agreed upon in the personal development world and in most modalities is that you need to fix yourself, and then you'll be able to pop out over here and you can have what you want. And you'll never, ever, ever get to resolve this structure, right? Who gets this? I know you all get it, but it's great to see it again. Right? You'll never, ever get to resolve this structure. And it's so powerful to really understand this, to really get it and to really understand it. And at the same time, it's, you know, it's probably one of the hardest things for us to move out of and into a creative structure. Now, I just want to be clear that the creative structure isn't the opposite to the problem-solving structure. It's not the opposite. It's just it's a completely different structure altogether. Does that make sense? It's not like you have the problem-solving structure, you know, on one side, you know, and then the opposite side over here is the creative structure. It's not like that at all. And our self-conscious, our thinking brain, our ego wants to make it, you know, black or white or right or wrong, and it's just simply not. They're totally different structures. Yeah, they're totally different structures. Now, in the creative structure, right, in the creative structure, what we're doing is we're setting up the 2 points where you want to be. We unpack where we are now. And there's nothing wrong with this, by the way. This is all really normal. Okay, it's all really normal. Everyone's got limits and beliefs and things that are holding them back. But what everyone doesn't have is a means of letting it go. See, we're never ever taught to let it go. Right? We're told that we got to go and fix it, which just creates more problems. And you never, ever, ever get to resolve this structure, because if you got what you wanted, it would be in direct conflict with who you are in your current reality. Again, those identities just don't equal. So the goal violates your identity. Do you see that? The goal would violate the identity. So what's the solution? Well, what we do here, for those of you who've been in this work for a while now, you'll understand. So what we do is, instead of coming over here to try and fix all of this, we just learn to let it go. So you let this go. Right, you let go of this. And we just remove the resistance that's been caused by this. Now, superconscious recode is the fastest and quickest way for you to remove resistance and code up a new set of beliefs. So you're literally bringing in and creating new beliefs that are in alignment with what it is that you want. So you literally have to be it in order to see it. Remember that one. Remember that, being it before you see it. So I'm going to rub that out, and I'll show you on the board. So I'll actually leave that up there. So what do we have? Better, abundance, wealthy, enough, worthy. Who's that? Who likes that one? Like one of my sabotage patterns is being unworthy. And it's a common one. It's a real common one. So we're in a current reality. We want to get across to this desired reality. We set up creative tension. We have an identity here, and we have this identity here. And when you've got no resistance, pulling you back, right? When you don't have any resistance, you just go after what you want, right? When you got no resistance, you just go after what you want. Yeah, you're just pushing along, taking the obvious action towards your desired results, your desired goals. But if you've got resistance, if you've still got some identities of, not being allowed, and these are our 6 sabotaging ones. I mean, not being allowed an extra one, but not perfect. Not capable. I'm insignificant. I don't belong. I'm not good enough. Not worthy. By the way, have you noticed it and worked out which ones are more powerful in you or show up more for you than others? Like I know for me, not worthy is my biggest one, but there's a bit of not good enough. There's a bit of, not capable in me. There's also a bit of not perfect. I'm a full perfectionist. And now these are unconscious, right? And then there's nothing wrong with them. They're just there. They're ways of being that we develop, when we're infants, when we're orientating to the world, we have to work out ways of how we need to survive and how to get things. The problem is as an adult, they actually get in the way. Yeah, so there's always usefulness out of decisions and beliefs that we create. But and that's just true. People talk about this internal battle, this internal, dialogue, the good guy versus the bad guy inside of you, and it doesn't actually hold up in reality. It's actually not true. It's actually not true. What it is different parts of you that have made different decisions in the past that actually worked. They're actually useful to you, but they're no longer useful to you now in so many ways. And so when you're in a creative structure, you can still have all of these things, right? You don't ever get rid of the ways, your identity in the ways that you orientate to the world, right? This isn't the work we do. You don't get rid of these. We just remove the resistance that they create. See, so you can actually have everything that you want, everything that you desire in life, and still have all of these sabotaging identities going on. They just don't hold you back. All right, they just don't hold you back. And superconscious recode is the fastest and most effective way to remove the resistance that they create. So you can just get pulled forward by your creative tension. And in order to do this, right, the identities have to be equal. So you need to be it now to see it, right? So it's be it to see it. Now, how do we do this? How do we be to see it? So you remember, you know, the seed. So the seed is already being the tree that's already being the forest. It's already being it. And it's these invisible instructions that we're altering. And that's what we're doing when we go in at a super conscious level, above the unconscious. We can go in and we can change the instructions. And then we can be it to see it. Other ways of doing it and reinforcing these new identities is through the meditations that we have, right? Those short meditations condition our bodies to be it, to see it. That is why we actually do them. It's a way of conditioning the body. See, the body doesn't know the difference between whether it's happening now, whether you've got your desired result now, or whether it's happening out in the future. And that's the beautiful thing about creating and manifesting. So I hear so many people all the time going, you know, when I have the job, when I have the money, when I have the relationship, when the kids leave home, you know, when I get the new car, I'm going to feel and be a certain way. And it's just not the truth. It's not actually how it works. It's not how you create things. You be it now, and then it shows up for you. You see, you be it now, and then it shows up for you. And that is true mastery, is when you can create everything that you want and everything that you desire. It's true manifestation, and stay exactly the same you are. Exactly the same as you are. Exactly the same you are. And, you know, the really great examples are, you know, master manifestors, you know, people who've created massive success. These are your people like Steve Jobs and, you know, Lady Gaga, and even, you know, Donald Trump. You know, that these people didn't go and fix themselves in order to create the success they wanted. They just had no resistance between them and the result that they wanted. They just had no resistance. Right? Steve Jobs wasn't a particularly nice person to work with. Oprah Winfrey grew up in poverty, and Donald Trump became the president. He manifested becoming the president, and, you know, he's got some issues, I'd say. But the point is that they didn't actually go and fix themselves. They just had no resistance between them and the result they wanted. They just went after it. And this is the work that we're doing. Yeah, this is the work that we're doing. It's simple, right? But it's not easy. And that's why we coach. That's why we have you coached, and we coach you for 12 months, because unlike other programs or or other modalities, we don't want you just fired up for after a weekend seminar or, you know, a 4-hour event or something, right? Where you lose that motivation, yeah, where you lose your drive to create what you want after a couple of weeks or a month. We want you to become the work, because you are the super conscious. You are the powerful creator, and it takes a bit of time to learn this, and it takes time to understand the structure of creating. And for us, it's so awesome. We've got the recode that can remove the resistance that's created by our beliefs and our patterns and our emotions, so we can just go after what we want. And it's just so awesome. You know, we don't have to come here and fix this stuff. That's just there. But we can remove the resistance it causes, and you just go after your want. And it's really, really, really cool stuff. And once you take on and really become the work, like you're completely unstoppable. And there really is, you know, a method and a structure to creating. And I want to talk about that. See, most people don't know that if you set up a tension releasing structure, like creating and manifesting becomes really, really easy. And I want you to really, really hear this and understand this. Success does not have to be a struggle. It just does not have to be hard. See, most people think you've got to swim upstream, you know, in order to have success, and you just don't. That is just a belief. It's a story. Yeah? You can literally have what you want, and you can get there and do it with ease, and you can get there really, really quick. See, when you're in a tension releasing structure, right, you've got your current reality, right? Your identity in the current reality is equal to the identity in your future reality, right? These are equal. And so we'll just move that out. See, when we start creating creative tension, we don't have resistance, and we're moving towards stuff. We're taking the obvious next action. So we have a point here, and we've got tension, creative tension here. We've taken action to get there. Then we've got tension here, pulls us toward the next step. And we take action. And then again. And then again, right? It's like pulling back a rubber band and just firing it off, you know, like a bow and arrow. And you just go after what you want. And when you're in this creative structure, you know, you understand, you really, really understand that, oh, I've got health and I just want to create more of it. Right? I've got health. I just want to create more of it. See, I'm not focusing on this current reality. I'm not focusing on the problems. You know, when I really got this, because I've been up and down yo-yoing with diets and my weight ever since I stopped playing sport in my early 30s. And, you know, I'd put on weight, then I'd lose weight, and I'd put on weight. And what I would do is that I'd look at the scales and I'd see like 105 kilos there, and I'd freak out. And what I would do is I'd go, oh, you know, I'm way too heavy, and I'd focus on the weight. Right, and I'd focus on the weight. So all of my energy, right, was focused on the weight, and it was a choice by reaction. I was reacting to the fact that I was carrying too much weight, and it kind of sounds plausible, right? It sounds logical. All right, I'm overweight. I'm reacting to that, and you know, I'm going to lose the weight. But all of the power is in how much weight I've got. It's not in creating the future where I'm my ideal weight. So when I would get to the weight that I wanted, none of that tension, none of that power that was all in in the being, in the numbers, in the being overweight. None of that existed anymore. So I slowly went back again and put the weight on. And what I've learned is the focus is on the out here. And if I use that as an example, for me, it was creating health and vitality in a strong body. And I just focused on that. And the weight came off because the power was in what I was creating. I was focused on that. And I just created tension. Well, what's the action? What would someone who's being it, what's someone who's being healthy and vital and strong, what are they doing? Yeah, so I'm already being it. What are they doing? Well, they're getting up early and they're doing their meditation, or in my case, doing a meditation and then going and exercising. They're coming back, they're having something nutritious and good to eat. And they're doing their work and they're having something else that's really nice to eat for lunch. And they do some more work. Okay, then they stop, maybe do a little bit more exercise. They have something nice for dinner. They go to bed early. They drink lots of water, right? And then it's way different from going, oh, I'm overweight, carrying too much. I'm going to focus on that. And then I'm going to put all my power into and focus into there, get to the end and then get pulled back again. And this is why we yo-yo. This is why people like me used to yo-yo like that. And it's really important that you get this. Once you remove the resistance and you're in a creative tension, you just take the obvious next action. And it's really important to know that the recode removes the resistance, but the measure, right? I know that we have a numerical measurement of resistance out of 10. Yeah, and that it might drop in a recode. It might go from 7 to a 4, right? And that's an awesome result. Even a 7 to a 6 is an awesome result because it might be, a huge amount of resistance that's there. And it might just take a little bit of chipping away at those boulders and removing it so you can flow. But the real measurement, of the work, the recode working and you being in a creative orientation is you're taking action. And that's why the lenses are so important in creating, because it sets you up daily. What action are you taking that's toward that end result? Knowing full well that right now is just an earlier version, right? This here and this here are actually the same, right? They're the same. Do you get that? Just type in the chat box, type a 1 if you really, really get that. These are actually the same. This is just an earlier version of that. See, most of us think that it's separate, right? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's not separate. And I really need you to get that. It's the same thing. A lot of people ask me, well, then what am I going to do when I get the goal? We create something else. And this is just the cycle. Got that, create something else. Now, you might just be doing the 4 core orientation choices of living a life that I love, health and vitality, predominant creative force, living my true purpose in nature. I'll tell you, if you can nail those 4 continuously and live those 4, your life will be absolutely phenomenal. If you can nail those 4, you will have an absolutely phenomenal life. I could almost guarantee it. Okay, I could almost guarantee that. Because off the back of those, you can create anything that you actually want, which leads me to the next part of what I wanted to go through tonight, and I didn't put it in the heading of the teaching point, but I really wanted to talk again about choices and true choices. So is everyone clear about it? The tension releasing structure and the nature of resistance and the nature of creating. The creative structure just pulls you forward, and the tension gets resolved by taking the obvious action. The tension doesn't get resolved in the creative orientation by, the other diagram, getting pulled back by your old identity. Yeah. Instead of being pulled back to resolve this tension going this way, this creative tension, where you lose your mojo, or you make a bad decision, or you sabotage it, or you create a story. You don't have the time, or you don't have the money, or you're not good enough, or you'll get to it later. That was a classic of mine. I'll do that later. Later when, Nick? It's really funny just looking at it now. So instead of getting pulled back by this old identity, right, and resolving all this tension, you get pulled forward. So creative tension, is stress, and this is a good thing. You must learn to use the creative tension. See, destructive stress, or the stress which is probably the number one, it's not a disease or illness, but it creates more problems than most things on this planet in human beings. See, stress is unresolved tension. Do you get that? It is unresolved tension. And it sits there in the background. It sits there in the background, just going on and on. And the way to resolve that stress is to take action on the things that we actually really love and what we'd really love to create. That's right. You just create and do the stuff that you love, and you don't have stress. Easier said than done, but it's completely doable. It is completely doable, and thousands of people are doing this work, and they're proof that this works, and that you can live a life that you love. It's that simple. Which brings me to choices. A choice is a really, really interesting word. So when you choose something as an adult, when you learn to choose something, there's no narrative, right? There's no narrative behind it. There's no reasons. There's no excuses. There isn't anything like that going on. That's a decision, by the way. A decision is when you have, pros and cons, and you make a decision based on those pros and cons. But a choice is literally made because you would love to have that choice. You just simply love to have it. And that's the distinction. You really need to get this. That's the distinction. A choice is something that you want simply because you would love to have it, and for no other reason. That is what a true choice is. And when we're making our true choices, the things that we desire, that we really, really desire, it's so important to understand what a choice is. See, most people, including myself, are making choices that are designed to resolve one of those ways we feel incomplete. I'm choosing this to be more capable. I'm choosing it to be more worthy. I'm choosing it to fit in because I'm insignificant. I'm choosing it because I want to feel like I'm good enough. Do you see that? That's and that's why people never get to resolve and have what they want, because they're trying to resolve the ways that they feel incomplete. And it's one of the reasons why the law of attraction doesn't actually work for people, is because they don't understand what a choice is. And instead of making a true choice, they're choosing things that are trying to resolve, you know, a belief or a sabotage pattern. And so they never ever get to have what they want because it would violate the identity. Now it's all unconscious. Okay, it's all unconscious. And by doing this work, you get to expose what's holding you back. That's why we do all the unpacking and all of that, so we can remove that resistance. So often we make choices that are based on those ways to, you know, resolve being incomplete. This is a major driver of people's choices. Trying to resolve a way we feel incomplete. In other ways, we choose, you know, by limitation. We make conditional choices. And I'll go through this in a minute. Or we make choices on consensus, by consensus. Some people make choices based on, you know, some metaphysical thing, you know, they saw a bird flying and that means that they need to make this choice. Or I picked up this feather and therefore it means I need to make a choice in this particular way. There are a few other ways, and forgive me because I haven't taught this one for a couple of months and I have forgotten those other ways, so I'm going to find them because I really, really want you to get clear on these because it's just so important. So I apologize for not being organized with the choices aspect of this because it really is just so important. Now, if you happen to have your orientational workbook handy, like I do, you can just turn to it or you can bring it up on your screen. But here it is here, and I'll put it up. On the board. So the choices by limitation. Then there is indirect. So there's elimination, indirect, these are choices by reaction at the top, by the way. So we spoke about the choices by reaction, you know, and then it's to resolve a way that we feel incomplete. You know, for me, a choice by reaction was seeing how heavy I was, reacting to that. And all the power was in the reaction and not in my desired result. Now, when we look at conditional choices, conditional choices are when we impose conditions on the choice. So instead of wanting to have just a beautiful, loving, amazing relationship, we want to have it with, you know, say for guys, you know, they might want a blonde, you know, with blue eyes and an athletic body and all these other conditions. Or I want a particular job, right, that I have satisfaction with, but I've got to have these hours and I've got to earn this much. And, you know, there are conditions on it. So your conditions are on the way things show up. Other ones by limit, the limitation is a really interesting one. You know, and the way I illustrate that is, you know, people will say, look, I'd love to have $1 million. And I go, well, why wouldn't you want to have $999,000? What's the difference? Wouldn't you just want to have as much money as you could spend? So we put a condition on it. And what that does, it just limits everything. It limits everything. Now, the choice by consensus is it's making a choice, you know, based on other people. You know, you go and speak with mum, or you speak with your friend, or your boss, or whatever, and you go by consensus. What do they think? So essentially, you're saying that you don't trust yourself. You don't trust yourself to make a good choice when you're choosing by consensus. Or we choose by, you know, elimination. So we eliminate all other possibilities until we only have one. Okay, and this requires decision making. It's not a true choice. It's not, we don't choose it simply because we love it. And an indirect choice is, you know, we focus on the process. We choose the process instead of the result. And now this is something that I was completely unaware of that I would do. Right, I was always working towards something. So I'd have a whole lot of things that I was doing, but I was more interested, there was more belief that I could do the process than there was in having the result. Do you see the difference in that? Right, I believed more in the process and being able to do the process than actually get the result. And so I'd always be working toward the result and on the process and never actually get the result. And I was completely unaware of that, but it just made so much sense. And it made so much sense because it was keeping me, like I wasn't making true choices. Because if I was, I would have been focusing on just getting the true choice and I get it done. I get the result. And you know, it's just incredible. So I really want you to get these. So a true choice, and this is what the alchemists say. The alchemists have been around for 5,000 years, longer. And a true choice is simply when we choose something because we'd simply love to have it and for no other reason. And so for me, I've got some true choices. One of them is an easy, lucrative and fun business. This business, all right? It's easy, lucrative, fun, or an elf business. Another one of my true choices is creating more money than I can spend. Now, that's different for everyone. When you think about more money than I can spend, it could be $2 million or something. Could be $100 million for someone else. Could be $100,000 for someone. But you see, there's no limit on it. There's no condition on it. Right? It's a true choice. And it's because I've got enough money and I just choose to create more. Okay, so it's not coming from a place of lack. It's not a reaction. It's not trying to get away from something. So many people make choices to try and get away from something or in reaction to a condition. And again, it seems really logical. It seems like that makes sense, but that's just conditioning. It's actually not a true choice. And that's why most people don't get what they think that they're choosing, right? So I really want you to get these. I really want you to get these. And please send me an email. Contact me if you're unsure about a choice, because it's easy enough to work through. See, one of the questions to find out whether something's a true choice is, well, what would that allow me to be? Or what would that allow me to do? Or what would that allow me to have? Okay, and then when you answer that question, you'll get to see whether it's a true choice or not. So for example, someone might be a true choice, or I want to own my own business. okay, well, what would that give you if you owned your own business? Oh, well, I'll be able to have my own hours and I could spend time with the kids, or, more time. Right. So the real choice is that you want to live, you want to live a life, on your terms. You want to live the life that you love and desire. You don't actually want the business. The bigger goal is that the business just happens to be part of it. Okay. Or it might be, look, I want to create the love, the love of my life. And what would that give you? See, because you've got all the love in you. So what would that be? What would that give you? Well, again, it would give you a life that you love. Right? So it's really, really important you get clear on how to make true choices. And again, please communicate with me. I'm happy to go through stuff with you. And, if I don't get back to you in a day or two, it's not because I've forgotten, it's because I'm really busy, but I'm very, very happy to support you in making true choices. So, yeah, that's right. That's right. So someone just typed in the chat box, how long, like it took them ages to create a true choice, something they really, really love. Outside of our 4 core orientational choices. And I was the same. I worked on the 4 core choices for months and months before I understood, what a real choice was and how to make, true choices. Another one of mine is, I choose to be whole and complete right now. That is another one, simply because I'm already whole and complete, and I'd like to choose to be whole and complete all the time. So it's just really, really important that you get this, And the other thing about choices is you don't want to have too many. You don't want to spread yourself too thin. So we recommend that you have, your 4 core. So your 4 core choices. Really can't spell tonight. 4 core choices plus, a maximum of 5 or 6 more choices. And the reason for that is if you make too many choices, right, you're just going to spread yourself too thin. You're going to spread yourself too thin. You're going to be overwhelmed. You're actually not going to have the energy and the juice to be able to do them all. That's why we say you can have everything that you want by doing this work. You can have, and learning how to create, you can have anything that you want, but you can't have everything. You can't have everything, because if you have everything, you wouldn't have time to actually enjoy it all. Does that make sense? You can't have everything. Like if you went to I think I've used this before. If you went to the Universal's restaurant and you could get everything that ever was created is on the menu, you couldn't actually order them all, because you actually wouldn't have, well, they probably wouldn't have time to make it, but you wouldn't actually have time to enjoy it all. Like you just couldn't enjoy it all at once. So you can create anything you want, but you can't create everything. It's just not possible. So we recommend that you really only have another 5 or 6 more choices on top of the core choices. And we also, if you're doing your lenses every day, every single day you sit in the feeling of the end result, like it's done. And there is a reason for that. And epigenetics shows us, it already shows us, epigenetics above the genes, that if you step into the feeling of having something, in other words, being it right now, your body and your alignment, your vibration at a cellular level, at a DNA level, gets coded up in our brain, in our nervous system, and throughout the body at a cellular level. And it's like the body doesn't know whether you already have it now or not. And that is the reason, and that is how you give the silent instructions to be it, to see it. You already are it, you bring it into being. Yeah, you already are it, and it shows up. That is why we step into every day for a good 5 to 10 minutes. You close your eyes, you step into the feeling of the end result. Once you feel and visualize and see yourself, you're training your body to already have it, to already be it now. And then it shows up in the future. And we're literally neuro-emotionally programming us. And epigenetics and neuroscience shows that this absolutely works. This is scientifically proven. And that's why that's part of this work. It's just so phenomenal. But you have to do the work. You have to take that action. You have to do it on a daily basis. And you'll have to trust me, it is so worth it. It is so worth it. Or you can just keep doing what you're doing now and not get the results that you want. That's the way up here. And I'm just being straight with you. I'm just being honest. And there's nothing wrong with continuing to do what you want if you want to continue to have the same results. And it's as simple as that. You've literally got the golden goose, and you've got the golden egg, and you can literally create more golden geese and eggs by utilizing this work and learning it and practicing it. You really do. And I'm just so blessed to have it in my life, and I'm so happy that you guys are here and you're on the court and you're playing and you're learning new stuff, and trust me, it starts connecting, and it starts getting in, and you start aligning with the work, and you start becoming the work. And when you do, I promise you, you will start seeing incredible results. You'll start seeing stuff show up in ways that you actually never thought was possible. Like it really is incredible stuff. Look, I hope you've enjoyed the session tonight. For those of you who are new, welcome. We love you. And for those of you who have been here with us for a while, we love you too. And we'll see you on the next session. Thanks for being here. Stay magnetic, do your lenses, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.